you. Christ. New internet. I got a new modem and a new router. And of course, anything that you have connected to that has to be redone. But for some reason, the Wi-Fi was shorting out every 20 seconds. Seb bought me Ethernet cords, and by golly, I'm using it. Where's the... I mean, it's tragic. It looks like I've got tapeworm in my apartment. There's no other way to describe it. It looks like tapeworm. One cord wasn't long enough, but now I found a really long one. Toasted Posey says, new achievement. Your computer skills have gone up by 5. Not percent, just +5. +5. Okay, Dungeon Crawler Carl, new book. Less people in chat. This was an ambitious month. We did. What picture? Oh, shit. What picture? I don't see it. +2 subterfuge? +2 deception? Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'll do this live. How is everyone? How are we liking this? How you been, Kate? Missed ya. Kate, did you see that I got your parcel finally? It's in the set. It's in the set. It's, yeah, it took me forever to check, but I did. I did a bunch of photos in the community chat on Discord, but of course, you know, that gets drowned out quite quickly because it's where there's no audio. We aren't getting Discord sound. There we go. I haven't tried them on because it's been 30 degrees Celsius, but I could do it. No, because foot fetish is a big part of the book. And if I start putting on the socks on a stream, I don't think you can even do bare feet. I'll get banned.
You already have an entry in WikiFeet, so.
I know. How do you know that?
No reason.
Kate, do you have a thing with feet?
No, I knew it because you had mentioned it once.
17 pages. Yeah, 17 pages on WikiFeet. I got long fucking toes, all right? I just want to... We got long toes. It's not worth looking at. I'm going to get this image so that we can have Dungeon Crawler Carl, but I'm going to be doing it live. That is never fun. DCC. So I'll do a quick round robin of the people that have read it. What are we... Nope, stop that. What are we thinking? Starting with... So far. Yeah, Kate, go. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Not a book you would usually read, I'm guessing?
Read stuff similar to it. I was hesitating on reading it because I just was so burnt out on fantasy. That's one of the reasons I dipped out of the last book, even though it's like someone would technically call it sci-fi, but it's space fantasy.
It is space fantasy. And it's grueling.
I was just like, oh, I don't know, but it's really fun. It's just stupid fun.
Colleen, you were saying that as well, that, you know, after the last series, it was quite heavy. A lot goes on. There's a lot of death and mistrust. You were saying that you just needed something light and fun. Have we delivered with Dungeon Crawler Carl?
Yeah, I think for the most part, yeah. So much of it. I love the little references to like the A-Team and Gilroy Girls and
yes.
MacGyver. There's all of these references that I think, and Princess Donut is pretty hilarious.
It's fantastic, yes. Hard agree.
But there's also a few moments there, like with the finding out the backstory of the goblins. Sometimes it's kind of tragic.
Yeah. Avery is going, I would not say that this is light, lol. Some of this stuff is very disturbing. This is the thing. It's definitely the genre is comedy. It's comedy. It's game lit RPG. So it's very much sort of like battles, fights, monsters. But with the humor, with the light comes a lot of shade, darkness. And I do want to talk about sort of the dichotomy between these laugh out loud moments and then some of the, is it Vaden who just said it in Vaden says it's got some pretty poignant moments though. So just, the fact that we're getting a bit of both for that. This is a pretty underground book at the moment, even though Matt Dinniman's just released the 6th in the series. I think he's just kind of putting them out quite fast, and he uses his smaller fan base to weigh in on who the characters should be, what should happen, what are some of the items. So it's very much Dungeons and Dragons and DM sort of treasure trove of being able to help build out these campaigns. Now, as someone that's done that literally with Fungins and Flagons, where I had like-minded people help discuss what achievements would be, what effects would be, magical items, what all that sort of stuff. I've loved this. This book was recommended to me by a friend, Claire Grant, who said she was harping on for a while. She was like, this is such a good series. And I think I was like doing my Throne of Glass or Akatar re-listen, and I was just like, my time is being spent at the moment, but as soon as I get a second. And then, of course, about 5 chapters into the book, I'm donutting her. Like, I'm all text, capital text, screaming, this is such a good book. And she's like, I told you so. And so now it's like up to me to pass it on to the next people. And it is with Maude's book club that I get to share it. Thierry, I have gotten you onto a series before, Dresden Files, which has consumed your life. You've finished 2 books already for Dungeon Crawler Carl, even though we've had it for 2 weeks, not even 1 week. We've had this reading homework for 1 week. What's been going on, Thierry? Where are you at?
I'm chapter 2 of book 3, and I'll repurchase book 4 and 5.
Sometimes I create monsters, but these monsters are non-combative NPCs, and we all get along and we help each other. That is fantastic. You're flying through these. Now, when I usually we do like a is book good, and you've said that it was a 7 out of 5. What are you digging about this?
It's basically Dungeons and Dragon craziness. Like, like I said in the chat, I DM'd this hardcover for my D&D group.
Yep.
Which is basically a dungeon of 23 levels. And each level has like higher CR monsters.
Yep.
And when you play D&D with your friends, you let them do crazy stuff, and basically it's the same thing with the Dungeon Crawler Car. It's you try crazy stuff and you see if it works or it doesn't. And because the way of the humor the writer puts in, it's basically the same thing as a player. It's I'm gonna try to do this, and you roll the dice and you see if it works, if it doesn't, and either way, it's always something funny that the DM decides how to play it out. Like if it's a fail, you can flavor it to make it really funny for the rest of the table, to make a failure fun. Or if it's a really good roll, you could also flavor it to make it, you punch him in the face and the head explodes.
Yeah, exactly. I love hearing that this is just, as far as something tailored to you, this is so on the nose. Like you are literally, doing something like this in real life. I think a question that I have is, when we play games, it's in the mind, or it's, on a controller through a screen. The big difference here is that this is like what it would be like if you were placed into the real world. Sometimes we've seen this. I mean, Red Rising, Hunger Games, this was very much a battle royale kind of situation, but placed into a dungeon here, and with the absurdity of it all, I think sometimes the reality can get lost of, this isn't press A to start. This isn't press B to hit your opponent. This is you physically have to get in there and handle the situation. Show of hands, who thinks that they'd do okay in this dungeon?
I think even the most hardened battle ready person,
we're all fucked.
I think it's like percentages, and it's luck too, because depends on where you get thrown in. Like, and I mean, look at the whole thing where they went into the rest. It's like you have crawlers that are obviously killing each other, and it's like there's obviously
there's a lot of chance.
Well, there's going to be producer shenanigans too, the same as when you watch like any survival show, right? Reality TV has it where they evil edit people, or they like give hero edits to, it's like they
Mhm.
are writing a story with what's going on. So I feel like no matter how well you do, there's always just, it's
There's
like,
something out against you.
well, it's like playing against the house in a casino, right?
Yep.
Like it's never 100% guarantee. And just sometimes, like when you're in war, even the best soldier sometimes just gets got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Oh, well, there's so much to unpack with this. I've had no structure because I was a little bit behind with tech issues. Ropanda's in the chat. Hello, Ropanda.
Hello, hello.
How are you? We haven't done an official formal intro on the show. So usually when we have someone new talking in the show, we like to do a little bit of an intro. So your name, where you're calling in from, you can be as vague as you like with that one. What kind of books you're into. We'll start with that.
Yeah, so Ropanda or Nicole. I'm from Ontario, Canada.
Hey.
I'm into fantasy is my go-to, but I'm also a big fan of like horror books.
Ah.
I read a lot of those because of my older brother when I was growing up, so I kind of
What kind of
delved into
books?
those. There was something that called the Demonata series that I was into for a while. Not so much anymore.
Okay.
But when it first came out, it was something that I found a lot of connection to my brother through. So it was a good one for me.
My brother's birthday is in like 3 days, and I'm convincing him to get, because there's a deal in Australia at the moment. If anyone's in Australia, Audible first month for free. And I'm like, if my brother just chucks a Thierry at nice shirt. Did you guys see as well? I got mugs delivered just as I came in this afternoon. Also, maybe you can still see it. I had a massage this afternoon. Turns out if you jump rope for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, your ankles and your knees and your calves are a mess. So I'm still in kind of like, and then I had tech difficulties. Ropanda, so lovely to put a face to a name and a voice to a name. To describe it, she's got the headset on. There's a nice blue wall with like a collage behind. It's just lovely to be able to kind of see everyone who's got fantastic opinions. So Dungeon Crawler Carl, is this the first book that you've read for book club?
No, I've read others. I just my computer wasn't liking audio and video for a long time, so I didn't engage that way. But I've done quite a few since like September, I think. So
which ones have you been liking?
Red Rising ones were top tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tomorrow, bald like a baby.
Oh my god, like a goddamn baby.
Yeah.
Oh, this one right here? Oh,
Yeah, that one right there. Yeah, broke my heart, and then repaired it, and then broke it again.
Yeah. Oh, that was the heaving sobs. Yes. What book are you reading that's not a book club book at the moment?
Currently, I am rereading the Percy Jackson series just because of the TV show.
We're going to have to do it, aren't we? We're going to have to maybe do the first one as a bonus book. We're going to have to. I read the first 3, I think 3 or 4, like a while ago. I think around Hunger Games, I think. But yeah, if the show's coming back out and there's got a whole new cast.
Yeah, and then my grandma and I went to like Percy Jackson the musical that my old high school put on, which was super cute. So
that is
it just reignited.
Get a little Percy. All right. Lisa says, I just read The Sun and the Star by Rick Riordan. I'd love to chat with Rick about it all. Kate's quickly outing me, going, yes, Maude loves horror so much. She loves when I talk about it. Yeah, but you read sick fuck horror. I don't know how else to describe it. What would you call it?
Extreme horror.
Okay, I rest my case. Yeah, I read your Goodreads reviews and you're like, I'd like to see just how far my boundaries are when it comes to these sort of books. And you're like, it was disturbing, but just not well written. And you're like, what? You kind of like go into sort of what happens in it. And it's just like, I get nightmares reading the review. Anyway. Kate says, I don't know if I would have even gone into the dungeon, to be honest. I'm too fatalistic and I want to deal with all this nonsense. I'd just rather the takeout. Nice. Vaden says, excuse me, and I'm kind of on par with this. Part of my work is breaking the rules, so I would learn the ins and outs of the system and then how to exploit them very well. You've just described my high school years. I never technically did anything wrong, but I found every loophole. So it's like I technically didn't ditch school ever. My mom wrote a note. My cursive was really good. Like the day before, which I would then hand in and get stamped. And so the next day when I was so fucking sick of school, I'd be like, here's the note. It's been approved. I'm taking the rest of the day off. But my parents had no idea that I was doing that. It was completely fabricated, but I played by the rules in a deceitful way. So Vaden, I like that. I like that a lot. Avery says, I think I'd be okay, if I was with other people, but alone, I would face one monster and then just hang out in the safe room until it all collapses. Colleen, you said that as well. You were like, I would totally hang in the safe rooms and have that like, yay, as soon as this like level's done. We're done. We're going to have Waffle House pancakes. Make a time of it. I would be so tempted. Yeah, I'd be with the rest home crowd is what you said. Vaden says, I think how well I'd do would depend on motivation. If it's just my life, I don't think I'd survive very long. But if I felt like I had a great purpose in completing the dungeon, I think I'd do great. Wow, you know what? I actually think purpose and the why behind it all is the through line. Because I think a lot of the time, especially, I mean, I've never done it, but I would assume, and when we read about wars, whether it's galactic wars, historical fiction, when you are in the trenches and when this goes on and on and on, you start questioning why you're there. You are put through such despair. You're put through the worst of everything that it's like if you don't have someone to go home to, or if there's not like someone that's worth fighting for, you can lose the will to live very, very quickly. So I think that that's a really kind of apt discussion in all of this as well. Lisa says, I feel like I'd be the first to die in these types of situations. Well, if this was Red Rising, are you the girl that the jackal shot so they could eat your legs? Yeah, she goes probably. Oddball, who is way ahead of the reading. I believe the book that you're talking about is book 4? Vaden, Hunting Grounds? That's book 4 or something, isn't it?
I think it's 4, yeah.
So Oddball's just... I mean, I feel like there's a race between Tyrion and Oddball. And regards Darren's in that race. I think he's going to fly through the second book as well. I ain't mad. I'm proud of everyone. Vaden says there are definitely some rule of cool moments from the author. For those that don't understand rule of cool, Vaden, can you explain what that means?
Oh, yeah. Basically, when you're DMing a game in D&D or other tabletop games, basically the rules say have ways to do interactions and you rule for to do certain actions, but if the rules don't allow for certain things that people come up with, then as a DM you can say, hey, that's a cool idea, let's do it anyways, don't care about the rules, and then you just let it happen, or you let people roll for it. But at
creativity
that point,
and inspiration is rewarded with a good DM, I personally think.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than like, I want to try all this really cool thing, and like, you know, I've taken the liberty to combine all of our resources to come up with this one idea. And if someone goes, oh, you can't do that. Ba-boom. You're like, okay, cool. Creativity is not rewarded. I like it when creativity is rewarded. In fact, I think, we'll get into it. But like when using Donut's charisma to then win over the goblins to make a chopper. Oh, that's some brilliant stuff. And like on my second listen through, I'm like, what would I have done? And I think it's a very exciting and also incredibly scary situation to place yourself into. Because you can say you'd crush it all day long, but the reality is we're fucked. Okay, good. Toaster Poster says, I kind of want to make character sheets for Carl and Donut. Now, they have, Dungeon Crawler Carl has a fandom page. I do not recommend going onto it until you're a couple of books deep because there will be some spoilers there. But it's quite thorough. So achievements, items, quests, all of that, you can find it in there as well. Hey, Academic, lovely to have you here. You there?
Yes, glad to finally be here. Show up finally on time.
I am excited that you are here because this was a very different books. For those that don't know, Academic came in to talk about Red Rising. We had just done, that's not the book, that's the next one. We'd just done Morning Star, and Academic's a very big fan of the Red Rising series. And now it's me going, let's read a book called Dungeon Crawler Carl. Let's take this shift into a whole new gear. It's a very different kind of book, but it still falls under the sci-fi fantasy umbrella. This is, I think, well, it's a game lit RPG. Has anyone here read lit RPG before? Okay, Academic has, but no one else really. Academic, how does Dungeon Crawler Carl as an RPG game lit RPG? Ugh. How does this one compare to it? You're already laughing at me. That's great.
Yeah, you're pretty close. Let's say I would say Dungeon Crawler Carl is pretty high up there as far as lit RPG. If you go to different lit RPG forums, this is one of the 3 that I would say that is almost always universally recommended.
Yay!
And so this is my first time reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. I was waiting. I was making my way through my TBR, and this was near the top of the list, and so this was the push that I needed to do it, and I'm glad that this push came.
What are your thoughts so far?
Love it so far. I sort of go through lit RPG books like they're lays. Bet you just can't have one. So I'm on book 3. So I'll do my best not to spoil. I know that's your domain.
You too as well. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do.
So, but yeah, it's been good so far. I have enjoyed. I'm an audiobook person.
They're
so
fun, aren't they?
Top notch. I think for most audiobooks, this is near the top. I have to like really sit down and break it down, but yeah, I'd say this is near the top.
I will have like a whole section in this dedicated basically to the audiobook and what Jeff Hayes as the narrator has done. He's brought this series to life. It is so amazing. I'm still going back through the comments. I do want to shout out to Be Rock Vandal. Yay! Thank you so much for gifting a sub to Manga PC got a gifted sub. Yay! KP Dubs, thanks for 29 months. I know you're working and you might catch us at the end of this show. B-Rock Vandal also for 19 months. I really appreciate that. And Adam Vision swung by 20 minutes ago when I was having tech issues. Just to say smooth. But he has resubbed for 33 months. So he's got you all beat, really. He's the kind of friend where he can kick me when I'm down. And that's okay. He texted me last week going, I'm mad at you. I had a dream and you were really awful to me. And I responded going, fuck you. That's our friendship. And then I was like, well, I mean, it wasn't even me. It was Dream Maud that said that. I love it when that happens. I actually this morning have leftover anger towards someone from my dream. I'm like, ugh, rude. Anyway, love the series, says Jason M. Ball. I love that you're here, Jason. Tell me all about it. Also, Manga PC is their first time chatter and they're in here. So tell me how you're liking this as well. Flying Cosmo says, bowing in to let you know I blame you for delving into Red Rising with the next 2 in the series on my shelf. We'll bow out before any plot convo. Well done. I'm glad you're into the Red Rising series. There's no audio. Oh, never mind. Flying Cosmo says, appreciate hooking me into this series. Yay, I love that. I love hearing stories where it's like, I love this book so much, so I've recommended it to people. I've had glowing success with Project Hail Mary, recommending that to friends. They all love it. Toaster Poster says, book good. I'm going to start book 5 tonight. We had 1 week. I gave you 1 week to read half a book, and some of you have managed to read 4 in that time. I remember there was a little apprehension being like, Maude, this book's it's not a thin book. This isn't it's a chunky book. There's 400 pages and you're asking us to read that much. And my whole thing was like, trust me, you'll fly through it. It'll be so easy. Kate, you called it an airport book and you're saying it's not a bad thing.
It's an inside joke that I have at work, and my coworker hates it because she used to work in an airport bookstore. But that's what I call, like, the mass market, like James Patterson and like that that kind of table of books where it's like James Patterson, Danielle Steele, Tom Clancy, like those kind of books.
Apparently
buy at an
Danielle Steele
airport.
just hit like 1 million books sold or something.
Well, she puts out a book every other month, so it's not surprising.
Good on it.
But yeah, those kind of books where you just like see it at the airport and it's just brainless, and you just put it on, you read it on a plane, and you don't mind leaving it behind. And this kind of has that in the way the chapters are super short.
Yep.
And it's like written in a way that you don't really have to think about it. Like it's very simply like it's like I said, it's like dumb fun. And that might sound like I'm insulting it, but like sometimes you just want something that's just dumb. Like sometimes you just want to go watch like an action movie that, it's like, ooh, explosions, and
Mission
you don't care
Impossible.
about the plot. Yeah, it's like just
he jumped off a cliff.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be like this crazy deep story, right? You just want something that's easy, breezy, fun. And that's what this is. But it does have those moments of, where it's just like, oh shit, like there's consequences to this. Yeah. But it just reads very quickly. And that's what I think of like when I think of an airport book.
Last airport book I bought, 50 Shades of Grey. I threw that out when I landed the plane. I threw it in the bin. I think I read 3 chapters.
Most airport books are bad, but when you're on a plane, you're just like, I just need something to do on this stupid plane. I can't do anything else.
I actually found I would still rather listen to books on a plane. I would still rather listen. Yeah, I get through so many books. Anyway, Not Faye, thank you so much for the follow. I'm Maude. I run Maude's Book Club every single month, except this month where there's 2 books. We usually choose a book to cover. And in 2-hour streams across the month, we will chat about it. There's some pretty cool ways to get involved with Maude's Book Club. I like to call it passive, active, and interactive. Passive is just you watching. You're watching on Twitch. You've joined the Discord. You kind of like to know what each book is. You'll read it and you'll comment along. Active is...
academic. Blockbuster book. That's a good thing for what I was describing.
Comments? Blockbuster book. Yeah, exactly that. You're there for a good time. You want to be entertained purely. Exactly. Nice. Active is my lovely Book Club Plus members who want to share their thoughts and vocalize it. No, that's interactive. Fucked up. Passive, what's the book? I'll read it. Active, what's the book? I'll talk about it, comment on it. Interactive, what's the book? I want to chat about it. There you go. That's all I needed to say. I just need to simplify, which is what Matt Dinniman does so well. A couple of little shout outs in the comment though. Ropanda, I get to actually look at you and say, thank you so much for gifting 5 subs to the community. And I get to see you go, oh, don't worry about it. She's just gifted subs to JJ1109, NDR Presto, Creeping Death without an A. So it's like meth but with a D. BC Murray 75 Silver Staged. You all got gifted a sub thanks to Ropanda. Make sure you say thank you in the comments because we are a nice community like that. Vaden says, I've never read any other lit RPG books, but I heard the Cradle series is pretty good. Well, there's no dungeon crawler, Carl. Thierry says, if Ready Player One is considered lit RPG, then yes. But a really cool, astute comment that you made, Kate, was there's a huge difference between Dungeon Crawler Carl and Ready Player One when it comes to organic pop culture references. I'd love to pick your brain between how Matt Dinniman includes pop culture in a way that isn't cringy or forced or pandering to a nerd audience.
Well, I think it is cringy, but in a way that makes sense.
How dare you? Take it back.
No, like
take it back.
Look at the tone of Ready Player One compared to Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Are we having a fight?
The tone is...
I'll fight you.
No, because you're not letting me finish my sentence.
Plus 5 to interrupting. Plus 50 to interrupting this bitch.
Well, I stole...
No, just talk. You can go. You can go.
So, it's a reality TV show.
Yes.
And like there's a layer of melodrama to a reality TV show, right? Like there's a layer of like cheese and cringe and just like, like camp whenever you watch one of those kind of shows. And I feel like that sort of thing fits with this as opposed to Ready Player One. And that was me just shading Ready Player One because the more I think about the book, the less I like it. But at the time when I read it, I liked it. But
I was
In
about to ask,
hindsight-
I was about to interrupt, but in the same conversation, when I read it for the first time, I loved it. I ate it up and I was like, Dungeon Crawler Carl level of it, awesome. But then we did it for Alpha Book Club way back when, and we all really had to kind of like go through it with a fine-tooth comb and be like, this is not great.
But it also kind of felt just like it's like, oh, I'm so cool. Look at my references. And these ones don't feel like they're trying to be cool. It fits really well with, like Avery said, cringe doesn't automatically feel bad. And that's yes. I think the internet has very much overused what cringe actually is.
Uh-huh.
But it's just like the way that they're using it is just dumb fun and has that layer of, using the pop culture. It's the difference between a person who is cool and a person who's trying to be cool. If you're trying to be cool, you're not cool.
I feel like it's like
And
the,
the way
the
that-
spectrum of as well, like it's cringe or camp. And camp is fun and amazing because you're celebrating what it is. And cringe, you're right, is the trying to be cool with it, that component. I like that description.
Yeah, it's like, and it's just like, I feel like it fits, the referential humor just fits really well with the tone of this book in terms of it being like, you can picture the narration. I'm not doing the audiobook, but I can totally picture it being like in announcer voice, like in sportscaster voice. You know what I mean? So that's.
Let me help
very
everyone with that. New achievement. Sounds like Will Wheaton. Tell me I'm wrong. You've just unlocked this box. It sounds like Will Wheaton. The female box where it's like, and kill. That's what she sounds like. Dungeon Crawler Carl. What's his name again that we've all said that he sounds like? Which Patrick? Who is it?
Patrick Warburton.
Yes. Hi, I'm
So
Dungeon
it's
Crawler
like
Carl.
that kind of bombastic announcer voice, as opposed to like Ready Player One, where it's like, yeah, I like playing video games because I'm so cool.
Yes. Princess Donut's got a great voice as well. I'm Princess Donut, and this is what I'm going to be doing in the challenge.
She's the best character.
She's so great. Okay, we're going to get into those characters for sure. We're also going to get into the baby goblins. Glow! What a moment. Toaster Poster says, Book 6 comes out on Audible in September. Can I get a hell yeah? That'll do. KP Dubs has dropped on by. Oh yeah, Oddball's on Book 5. Unbelievable. Mark View says, it's my favorite Maude. Listen, that's like saying it's my favorite daughter and you only got one daughter. I understand there's not many Maudes, but I'll take it. Oddball says, I would probably go in, but with shoes and pants. Fair enough. Kate, this is what you're saying. One thing I really like about this book is that it has the really clippy, fast writing and pacing, and is again an airport book, which is just dumb and fun and easy to read. We went over that. I love that. But then it hits you with some serious moments, like Imani having to kill the rest of the home people, or the hoarder lady. It's kind of like, just like people who play video games and think how they would be a soldier because of Call of Duty or whatever, but real life is not a video game. I will get into that because I have many thoughts on how really aptly Matt does that over the course of the first few chapters. Thierry says, growing up in a rural environment, I was in the Scouts. I've got some survival skills, enough to survive if I got lost in the wilds. I think I would do well enough. Would I survive other crawlers? That's another story. Thierry, do you think I could kill you in the game? Who would win?
I think you would be sneaky enough to shoot me behind the head.
I shouldn't have asked. I knew the answer.
I know you love playing Assassin's Rogue, so I think you would base your character in Dungeon.
I don't want blood on my
as
hands.
one of your...
But I will remove my blade from your skull after I've thrown it. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no. Toasted Poster said, I'm hanging out in the Waffle House. The cruelty of this game is too much. KP Dub says, if this happened where I am now, O would have easy access to food and water and might not go in the dungeon. On the other hand, I'm very creative. I might do well as an artificer type in the dungeon. It took me 5 years to be able to say artificer. I'm still not convinced I'm doing it correctly. Billy and Six says, hello from North Carolina. How would you go in a dungeon if it erupted and squashed everyone that you ever loved? K Frito says, how would you even win in this game? Is my only option surviving, becoming a galactic citizen? Pretty much. Kate says, I don't even think there is any winning the game. Look at the veiled way that the NPCs talk about the lower levels. Like even as NPCs, they get screwed out of a reward. Yes. Oddball says, I do like it where they have a definition of a Carl plan or a crazy ass plan. I don't think I'm so great at coming up with plans like that. I don't think I have that, but I'm a yes person. So if someone goes, I've got a really dumb idea, I go, let's do it. So I think everyone needs that kind of person. My gosh, guys, the comments are coming in so much. I'm getting sidetracked a lot. Kate also says AI is pretty realistic considering what we're dealing with this year with the AI writing stuff. It's just been a derivative because AI can only regurgitate what it's been given. And I kind of adore that. They are playing into tropes, into stereotypes. It's like AI, the more you feed it the internet, the dumber and more awful it's going to be, and the more cruel, and pessimistic it's going to be. So that's really interesting. Academic says, this is my plug. Listen to the audiobook. Absolutely. B-Rock Vandal says, any Spanish speakers know what the Hoarder was saying? KP Dubs actually took the liberty to put in the book chat, I believe, all of the what's the word? Interpretations. That'll do. Robin, I saw that comment. Part Victor. What did we expect? Listen, only the part that keeps me alive. Colleen says the Hoarder lady was saying that she was scared and her stomach hurt. She was asking for help. Oh! Artificer. Vaden, say it. Artificer.
All right, it's supposed to be like this. Artificer. I know it's strange.
No. Artificer?
I know, it doesn't make sense, but apparently that's how you pronounce it.
Is one of the most complicated words in the English vernacular. Can we fight together in the dungeons as the Maude squad? Oh my god. I could not be responsible for your lives.
Are you sure about that, Baden? Because the word artifice is pronounced artifice.
So artificer.
That's what I found. I looked it up. And
does it have like the
Yeah, I'm fairly sure Baden's right here. English just sucks, y'all. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm not pronouncing it that way.
You don't have to. I know it doesn't make any sense, but
Pronounce. Oh, I'm not the first person to look this up. Okay, pronounce. Okay, ready, everyone?
Artificer.
That's the British pronunciation. Let me give you the American one, because the American one's always bonkers. Artificer. It sounds like something incredibly dirty that Art is doing to her. But anyway, I don't like it. Okay, let's talk about this book. Let's get into it. If you are a member plus, or if you're a member, you have access to a Google Doc. Thank you, Vaden, for helping me with quotes and explanations and a little bit about everything. We're 47 minutes in, and I'm going to tell you what this book's all about for the first time. You'd think I'd have structure down by now, but fuck that. Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. It's the most watched game show in the galaxy, is what it's called. In a flash, every human erected construction on Earth, from the Buckingham Palace to the tiniest of sheds to all trucks and cars, collapse in a heap, sinking into the ground. The buildings and all of the people inside have been atomized and transformed into the dungeon, an 18-level labyrinth filled with traps, monsters, and loot. A dungeon so enormous it circles the entire globe. Only a few dare venture inside, but once you're in, you can't get out. And what's worse, each level has a time limit. You have but days to find a staircase to the next level down, or it's game over. In this game, it's not about your strength or your dexterity. I would beg to differ. It's about your views and your followers. It's about building an audience and killing those goblins with style. You can't just survive here. You gotta survive big. You gotta fight with vigor, with excitement. You gotta make them stand up and cheer. And if you do that, if you've got the it factor, you might just find yourself with a following. That's the only way to truly survive in this game, with the help of loot boxes dropped upon you. That's a bit of a spoiler, so I'm not going to continue that line. They call it Dungeon Crawler World, but for Carl, it's anything but a game. Thank you, Goodreads, for that one. Who's Carl? Carl is an ex-Navy nerd stuck with his ex-girlfriend's cat when Earth is invaded by aliens and millions of people are forced into an intergalactic dungeon crawling game show. My first question was, what are your thoughts on lit RPG? We kind of went over that. Academic's the only one who's read one before, not in the Navy. Coast Guard, that's what I thought. I pulled that from the fandom, straight from the fandom. Coast Guard, who has some sort of Navy SEAL training, according to him. He's trained in combat and stuff. He goes in there with his ex-girlfriend's cat. Now, this is what I find really interesting. It's 2 a.m. where he is. He's in what, Seattle? Where was he from? Something like that. We don't know what year it is. I kind of wish we had the year locked down. It's like in today's current day. But let's just say it's 2 a.m. PST on a Tuesday morning. Monday morning, Tuesday morning. Seattle, yep. Where is everyone realistically? Who would actually survive the crushing of everyone in a home? My first read through with this series, being an Australian, listening to the point of view of an American, because it's always centric around America, I found it really interesting because the first thought that I had was, if it's 2 a.m. in America, it is 8 p.m. in Australia. Maybe even 7 p.m. How much of this dungeon is going to be the Southern Hemisphere? New Zealand, it's 2 hours ahead again. So it's like maybe 10 p.m. for them. 9 or 10 p.m. for New Zealand. It'd be like 8 or 9 p.m., 7 or 8 p.m. I think in Australia. Yeah, Aussies. So many Aussies. Anyone driving? No good. But if you're outside, and it's winter in Seattle, so it's summer in Australia. So much more likely to be outdoors as well. What I'm trying to say is, do you ever pools and hot tubs? What, on my stream? Fuck off. Anyway, as I was saying, in Australia, it's going to be summer, so a lot more people are going to be outside. In America, it's going to be between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. No, 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. So that's like the darkest hours. That's like the most time people are asleep. So the Northern Hemisphere is really quiet. I'm just going to hold on. Do you ever pools or hot? You so must be new here. That's like almost embarrassing. It's like embarrassing to ask. No one even seen my collarbones on this channel. 1 p.m. in Uganda. I love that timeline. Okay. That explains like I think one of the briefings, there's like an entire army from Africa that's in here. They were doing training. Adam Vision, lol. Listen, whatever. The book starts on January 3rd at 2:43 a.m. So the year would be the year the first book came out. So in my opinion, 2020. Oh my God, this was before the pandemic. What was worse, pandemic or Dungeon Crawler Carl events happening? Don't answer that. So yes, Seattle time is in Pacific time. Okay, so basically this is really complementing the Southern Hemisphere of the world at that particular time. In 2020, I was in LA. I'd be asleep. I'd be dead. Had I been in Australia, I wouldn't have my dog. Oh, I thought about that as well. Like, what if I was walking Zelda? Would never happen. But what if, Thierry says, what I'd do it in 2020, I would prefer Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'd be asleep unless I had a morning shift. Then it would have timed perfectly in between my walk to my car or my walk into work. Oh my gosh, can you imagine trying to open the car door and you just get, the car would crunch and you'd be like, what? Oh my goodness. What would Zelda turn into if she got given what kind of biscuit? An advanced biscuit? Zelda would have morphed into a danger dingo. KP Dubs. Legendary biscuit. Thank you, Vaden. Enhanced pet biscuit says, they're both. I think the advanced pet biscuit came in a legendary box. What was the spoiler? And you spelt it like an Australian. Academic. Would Zelda be the main in the party? It's like I almost don't want to entertain it because there's no world in which she would have survived to go into it. But
no, she's a dog, so she wouldn't be, because dogs follow their masters, right? So a dog wouldn't act the same way as Donut.
Yeah, because cats are shit.
That's why we love them, though.
True. I mean, Gustavus the Third and what's the other Rottweiler? They're doing pretty well. Oh yeah, I just picked a fight with cat lovers. My bad. I do apologize for that. You own a dog, but cats own you. Does Zelda follow Maude? Oh my gosh, if Zelda got like her own independence, would she like, I'm on your team? Or would she be like, we're done? Hello, Porky Piggins 55. I just hope that Zell and I would be like, where are you? She's not even in the, where'd you go, dog? Oi. Nah, Zell would sleep. Zell would be asleep most of the time. I'd be like, we're going to die. And she'd be like, okay.
Gonna have to carry her around in a backpack.
I would. That's amazing. Okay, sorry. Let's get back into this. The first talking point that I have 55 minutes into our stream. Oh dear. The first talking point. Carl was woken up by a bad dream. He went to sleep. He was woken up by a nightmare. He's been getting frequent nightmares. He's a smoker. He's not allowed to smoke inside, even though he's technically broken up with his ex-girlfriend who has Donut, puts Donut into cat shows. Apparently this cat earns mint from cat shows. So he has to go outside to have this cigarette. And then Donut jumps out the window as well. He has to go after her. The collapse happens. And I like that it's called the collapse because it evokes a lot of sensory things. It's like a can getting squished, but that's everything globally. A part of me on my second listen through wondered if there is fate at play here, because he just so happened to have been woken up by a dream that provokes him going outside, which then saves his life. The more we learn about Dungeon Crawler Carl is that the aliens have been planting seeds for this for decades. They've been learning about the Earth. They've been learning about all of pop culture and what it means. They've been studying the planet. Am I crazy in thinking that maybe some of the aliens have handpicked who would be prime contenders? And does that add... They claim to have even created the human race. Thank you, academic.
I don't know if they would have like handpicked people, but maybe it was some sort of random number generator because they would need people outside.
Yes,
from
exactly.
Like all the different parts.
And they can't leave it to chance.
Like we just had that big conversation with the time zones, but you would want, if the dungeon is like the whole world, you can't just have everyone on one side of the dungeon if you're looking at it from a producer standpoint. So you would have to have a reason for some of these people in like the northern hemisphere areas to be outside. So maybe they did like a random number generator. It's like, okay, we need this percentage of people to like go outside for some reason. So maybe they did it that way. But also I wonder if Donut sensed that something was going to happen, because like, you know how animals like sense danger before people do. So
yes.
it had pointed out that Donut had never gone outside when he had opened the window like that, because he'd done it several times and she had never desired to go out. But then that one night she just happened to for the first time ever. So unless the aliens programmed that, but I doubt it, because they probably weren't even looking at like cats or anything. Like they wouldn't care about that at all. Because why would a cat fight in a dungeon?
Yeah.
Well, I think.
Well, I mean, they have the pet biscuits, but it's not like their target person for the dungeon. Shut up, Terry. I don't want to know what's
Terry's
happening
got
next.
spoilers. Oddball says I was going to put something down, but never mind. Spoilers.
Well, I can say this without spoiling anything, but like I think you're right though, Ma. Like in that it does feel like there's too many coincidences to play because one, there's they're going outside at the right time. There's the fact that the enhanced pet biscuit just happened to transform Donut into something that can to a creature that can talk. You know, it's charisma. And, you know, so they had that background and being an entertainer and to being a a pet show winner of all these things. So it had that charisma already, which is what the show is about, charisma and about using the style, which is what she's great at. So.
Yes, but Carl got the biscuit because Princess Donut was the first cat entering the dungeon.
Yes.
True. Vaden, I just read your earlier comment saying Zelda would remember all the great stuff you did for her, so I think she would follow you into whatever, and I'm trying not to cry. I'm failing. Oh, that got me. That got me right in the feels. Zelda, you hear that? She's like half hanging out of her crate like she's been strangled to death. Love it. I do treat her well. B-Rock Vandal, you had a Fernando mystery? J Bunt-Rock, you're B-Rock Vandal? Aren't you?
Yeah, it's just that Princess Donut keeps referencing Fernando, and she reveals that she loved him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to find out. I'm hoping it's a dog, because I think that'd be hilarious.
But not a Cocker Spaniel. I love that. Jimmy says, if fate's involved, I would probably survive. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, logically speaking, because of my life that I've been through.
They've tried to kill you, dude. Well, they've tried.
Because I always think to myself before these situations, I'm like, wow, can't believe I survived that. Wow, I guess I didn't believe I survived that. You know,
can't keep you down.
You know, I'm just saying, I'm like a cockroach. I'm hard to kill.
You actually kind of like Darrow, not to bring up the last book, but he truly thinks that he cannot be killed at this stage because logically, like he should have, but it just keeps it. I like that. If you're a good luck charm in the dungeon, I'm sticking by you for sure.
Sure. Also, I'm kind of wily too. So
then that's when I would leave real fast. We don't. Every group's got an Agatha.
I'm pretty sure Vaden knows how wily I am. So
I know you guys play D&D together. May God have mercy on his soul. Lisa, you're good luck at the moment. Do you want to be in my dungeon crawler group? Lisa's put her video off because she's probably cooking dinner. Terry says,
"I'm eating." Yeah, no. I mean, if it involves me winning things, like prizes. I don't know about this game though.
The whole game's a prize.
I don't know.
We need that luck. Crazy Chris 360 and Plague Bearer both followed 10-15 minutes ago. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Welcome to Maude's Book Club. Terry says, why do I see Maude and Zelda as Princess Mononoke and her wolf in Dungeon Crawler Carl? I want that so bad. You have planted a seed. I cried for an hour and a half after I watched that movie. It wasn't a delicate cry. It was racking sobs. That movie got me. Maybe because I'm Princess Mononoke and that's my dog. Yeah. I mean, it's better than Hela and the wolf. She's evil, but like Princess Mononoke just wants to cure the planet. Like, hell yeah. I'd be down. Terry says, feel that most Aussies would survive with all the things in the wild trying to kill you here. I reckon Aussies have like seriously survival +5 just for being in Australia. Agree. Vaden says, hell yeah. Yeah. Jimmy's chaos. He would try to steal something off the wrong person and then get murdered immediately. And you know, the first thing I'm going to say is I've never met him before in my life. Jamie, I think he said his name was. I'm not sure. I would deny. Pylang says, Mama Maude tears. I'll follow you into the dungeon. That was a Death Cab for Cutie reference that I got. Thank you very much. All right, so next question. Sorry, I get sidetracked so much. Let's talk about the world building and the establishing events that take place? Did you find that you were asking questions about the collapse? Was the exposition and tutorial, tutorial, as I said, no one called me out on that. Tutorial can't be a word. Tutorial. Was it too much? Was it too much exposition? Did you get bogged down by here are the rules? Like, who was it in the chat that said if this was Maude in real life, she would have skipped the tutorial? It was on Fable. It was KP Dubs. It was on Fable. If this was Maude, she would skip the tutorial, so she'd be dead already. I mean, if my life depended on it, I'd do it. If my life depended on it. And that's the luxury that I have when I'm playing games on a keyboard and a PC. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to get harmed. But if like something came out of my keyboard and stabbed me if I didn't do it, I'd fucking do it. You bet your butt. It's consequences. But let's talk about that. Who's got thoughts about how the world building's established? Because I'm actually pretty impressed by the first chapter. It's not especially long. We get a real sense and understanding of who Carl is, his situation, living arrangements, who this cat is, and what the collapse was and what's taking place. Bartleby Prime says, I'm adding this to my Kindle for reading later tonight. It seems like an interesting premise. I wonder if the Coriolis effect means you have to start the dungeon crawl in the opposite direction in the Southern Hemisphere. What's the Coriolis effect? Anyone? Colleen, you look like you're about to unmute.
The way that the Earth spins and can change how projectiles move because of the spin and the speed of the Earth.
Oh, are you guys trying to science me? Good luck. Coriolis effect. Oh. Academic says, I don't know, based on how some kids in COD act, the game is real life. Ooh.
It's Coriolis, I believe.
Coriolis?
Yes,
what do I say? Coriolis. Ah, that sounds still cool. Great words, both of them. Coriolis. Coriolis. That sounds too much like.
So for the world building, I think it is a great first chapter. Does do a great job of like establishing everything quickly, like in what who's Carl, who's Donut, what's the motivation for going in the first place. They're cold, they're outside, everything's destroyed, they have nowhere to go, they're afraid, their feet are cold. I mean, come on.
He's literally getting frostbite at the moment, and he's like, let's just walk towards the heat and figure it out later. Yeah, but I think that the setup's great, and I know we keep saying it's like an airport book, it's just a good time, it's a blockbuster. I just really commend the writing here. The established world building is so well done that I was able to not get bogged down by questions. And that's a really hard thing about sort of like a sci-fi-esque thing. It's like, what if? But the what if still has to make sense. Because when we start questioning everything and we find holes in logic, it takes us out of the whole thing. So I really like that. Australia is not a real place, says K Frito. Well, fuck. Maude, didn't you learn about the Coriolis effect from the Australia episodes of The Simpsons or from the X-Files? I never watched the X-Files, and I feel like that's the dumbest thing I've ever done, is not watch it. Our toilets are built so differently that this whole notion of the water spinning the other way. America's bowls are so full of water. So there's like this whirlpool effect that happens. There's so much splash. Australian toilets, there's like this much water, and it's a narrow little chute. There is no spin, it just goes. So this whole myth about the water spinning a particular way, America, you're projecting. You're projecting on our toilet bowls and probably in our toilet bowls. But I mean, just, leave that out. You would love some episodes of X-Files. Some would scare you too much, 100%. Even Doctor Who's scary for me sometimes. Lady Boss-esque, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Maude's Book Club. We're talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is a great game lit RPG book. You're projecting on our toilet bowls. Heyo! Thanks, Academic. Also, Kate is just fleecing me here. Maude would be like Donut, just using items without reading them. Again, my life is at stake. Any other game, wouldn't give a shit. Wouldn't read it. I'd figure it out later. If my life depends on it, and if it's like me actually firing fireballs from my hands, I'd want to know everything about it. Are my hands going to burn? What is my range? How long's my spell regeneration? And it's so funny because like there is a point here where Carl is using scrolls and they're lasting 15 seconds. And then he's kind of going, I don't know why Donuts, she's regenerating her mana points so much more. I don't have time to think about it right now. I was walking around my neighborhood. Intelligence! It's your intelligence stats are different. Come on. 101. Pylang says, my apologies to the entire Aussie nation. I will reassess my toilet hydrodynamics post-haste. That's all I ask. Don't ask much. Google an Australian toilet. Actually don't, because you'll probably find like some kid got bitten on the balls by a snake. That happened. Bartleby Prime says, we're projecting, but in like clockwise or counterclockwise motion. That kind of sass is so welcome here. Tate, the Aussie finally surfaces now that I'm trying to defend Australia. Don't forget, that's so true, but like, don't forget the good old long drops. Because there's less water, so it's a longer drop. Tate, don't make me say this shit. Give me a pun point. I want a pun point for that one. Pun point 2 more. Thank you. Pun point. I just say pun. Oh, and Vader just gifted a sub to Bartleby Prime. That's how we reward sass in this Discord. Next question. Hold on. Did anyone have any other thoughts about the world building and how it's established? Did anyone have an issue with the exposition or the tutorial or this is how the game goes if you're Mordecai?
It remind me. It remind
Thierry
me of
and then Rogue.
Yeah, it remind me of the beginning of any Elder Scroll game. You wake up and you're in a dungeon, and you start there, and you have exposition intro that you skip, and you skip until you're out of the prison.
Thank you. Correct. Ro, thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was surprised by how quickly we jumped in though, because of how long the book is. I was like, okay, we're gonna get some build up, and then it was like, I go outside, boom, everything collapses. Oh, there's my neighbor's head. Like, and I was like, oh, okay, we're jumping right in. But I think I enjoyed that surprise of how quick it moved.
So once we're in the dungeon, we meet Mordecai. Mordecai is the tutorial leader. You get, again, there was like an announcement where it's like, hello, we are from the corporation. We've taken over your planet. There's going to be several doors opening. Make your way down there. Make sure you find a tutorial guild. And it's like info overload. What does that mean? Both of you said that. Mordecai. Oh, my name. I am your tutorial guild leader. Mordecai. Got it. I am also a changeling shapeshifter that will take a different appearance every single time I'm in a new dungeon. Mordecai. K3D said not much information, but it made sense. I liked the first info dump because it actually adds to the pressure of I have no idea what's happening. I have so many questions. Everyone I've loved is dead. What is happening? What is this whole stairway that's just appeared in front of me? I'm by myself. I'm in boxer shorts and like croc shoes that don't fit me. And then it's like, here is mandatory information that you need to memorize that you have no way of recording or going back on later. But if you don't do any of these things, chances are you're not going to survive what will cost you your life. I liked the way that it did that. Colleen says, Mordecai made me think of Shredder. Splinter. 100% same. And I think we're all on the same page with that. I think it is totally taken from Splinter. In fact, referenced to be Splinter. When using pop culture references, I love that it actually helps you visualize so much more. Looks like this person, done, got it. Yep, I can hear, see, smell this character. It's so tangible now. Kate said it made me think of when you're new at D&D, playing it at first for the first time. Yes. And there's just this wall of rules that you'll never remember and do nothing but scramble your brain. Yes. And I think it adds to that level of panic in this particular moment. And you're kind of grasping and grabbing things that stick out a little bit. Like you need to see a training guild within the first 3 levels. You're like, okay, I've got to do, okay. But then we go into the training guild after we see goblins that are attacking and you're like, oh my God, this is real. We meet Mordecai. In fantasy, a trope that we have is the chosen one, and with that comes a sage. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi for Luke, who knows the history of his father and what happened, and he was a Jedi and he's one of the last remaining ones, so he's got all this information and he's trying to train him but he dies. It's your Dumbledore, it's your Gandalf, it's your sage character that has information. This one's a little different. It's a little bit more mechanical instead of I'm going to swing by, info dump, and then leave and then come back to rescue you at point times. Mordecai is literally delivering, here are the rules of the game. With Mordecai, though, you learn more about who the aliens are, how this whole dungeon crawler escapades come about. It's your stat reports, it's your explanations, it's you click an item and you have information, but he's going to tell you it. With Mordecai, are you kind of glad that we have this information at play whenever needed to explain the after effects of things happening? Because a lot of the time this trope will do an info dump and then they'll die or they'll be removed. The fact that this is like a constant thing so far, I just kind of want to touch base on thoughts on Mordecai as a training / guild mentor here. Thoughts? Moving on. It's fine. I like him. I think it's really important to have a really natural way to provide information to our protagonists without it. Info dumps are quite helpful, says Jimmy. Great. Pylang says good thoughts. Vaden, yes.
Just quickly, one thing I liked about him, just like he says what he has to say. And he does give some hints that he shouldn't, about to Carl, because he likes him, I guess, to some extent. But also he's clear about things he can't talk about, so it's nice foreshadowing.
Yes.
I also think that it's pretty cool that so he also serves the role as the first non-combatant NPC that we come across, and I think that it's another good nod to the world building that Matt Dinniman is doing here. So yeah, he's explaining the world to us as the readers.
Yes. Yep. Junior Dax, hello Junior Dax, says, would like to add that it's really great that this book is available on Kindle Unlimited, so you can pick it up, see if it's for you, and if it works for you, and why wouldn't it? And then you can purchase it to keep. Brilliant setup and funny cheeky sass inside. Example, congratulating someone with whoopee. You can read. Yes. Also to plug Fable, we are on Fable. If you want an app-based book club, which we have, and we're on there, where you can do chapter by chapter discussions. So once you've finished reading a chapter, you can go in and leave a comment, a thought about that particular moment. So it's a really great way, instead of having to kind of hide spoiler thoughts in the Discord, we literally have a place that will pace out your reading and then add thoughts, and I read all of those and bring them into the conversation as well. Fable, it's a free app. Feel free to download it. Look up Maude's Book Club. We're on there. I really dig it. And Jay Buntrock, I think you're the first person to do a quote. You actually made a quote up, if I'm not mistaken. Where'd you go? You're there. That was cool. I liked it. Oddball said, it's good that we're learning about the world at the same time. That's always important. Baden says, yeah, having Mordecai as a mentor does humanize the other creatures that we meet. Fantastic. Next discussion point that I have. We need to recognize that Carl is a first-person narrator. Me, I'm doing this. I'm telling you about the world. We are seeing this dungeon crawl through my eyes. Sometimes, usually, first-person narrator can mean that they are unreliable. We are only seeing this through Carl's perspective. And it's established that he's a straight white guy, right? Do we think that Carl is an unreliable narrator? I know, I'm making you all think about it, huh? First person narrator. Kate says no. Kate Frito says no. Kate, I'd love to hear your thoughts on why no. And Robin and Avery, we haven't heard from you if you want to chime in at any stage. But Kate, why?
I feel like it's just in terms of the writing. It wouldn't, if you added an unreliable narrator thing, it would just make things way more complicated. Yeah. This is like a very straight, like, I'm confused. I need to know what's going on. Like, just tell me what's going on and how I can fix it. So adding like that layer of it would create a very messy story.
True.
Where I feel like it's a very neat and tidy narrative. So I just don't think he is at all. And his character is also very, there's not really a lot to hide there. I feel like he's kind of an open book, you know what I mean?
I do.
Like, he doesn't have a lot of secrets. Beatrice had a lot of secrets. Or,
yeah, she's sketch
Yeah, it was
as.
Beatrice.
Yeah,
But,
Beatrice.
like, he's just like kind of like a simple good dude. There's not a lot of hiding in there.
Agree.
So no, I don't feel like he is at all.
B-Rock Vandal is going to see the Meg 2, by the way. Please let us know in the Discord if that movie is our airport book, if it's any good or if it's worth skipping. I would love to know that. I mean, I've seen the
add
trailer.
on what Kate said.
Yes.
I don't think that he can be unreliable narrator because he's learning the world with us.
Yes.
So how could he hide things from us then, I guess?
Yeah, and it's interesting that you're right. Donut is the one who has more information. She was an observer. I mean, how much do we do in front of our pets because they don't talk and we don't think that they're observing or seeing anything? So to have
I also
Donut,
feel like Donut is a foil to that because if he tried to lie about anything, she would immediately refute it.
Agree. In fact, there are, what I would say is an unreliable narrator will say something, but that we see opposite effects happen. So Carl has several times said, "I'm not an asshole." God damn it, Donut, you're right. I'm not an asshole. So he's addressing that he's not an asshole. And we see several times that his actions reflect that accurately. So when his words and truth actions match, that means he is a reliable narrator and we can trust what he's saying. And I think it's really important that we have someone like Carl who's, you know, first person views. We're in his shoes, right? Like we are living through Carl. I think it's really important that he's a good guy. Otherwise, what's the point of the entire book? Put him in a fridge and walk away, you know? In Carl we trust. We believe in Carl. Great. But I liked that I got you all thinking about the first person narrator being reliable and not, and why it's important and why it's not. I think that that's interesting.
I'd like to add on that, like, sometimes I feel like when I think of reliable and unreliable narrators, I think unreliable narrators are mainly like maliciously unreliable, but there are also like non-malicious unreliable narrators who think that they're, you know, telling things accurately but aren't. And so like it's really tricky to look out for those sorts of situations.
If you want an unreliable narrator who thinks that they're doing everything right, read Yellowface. That was fucked up because as the reader you can see that she's just wrong, but she doesn't think she's wrong. Oh, it's gross. Kate, you read Yellowface. Oh, that was... Or I would rather be in Carl's non-shoes than in that narrator's shoes again. Ooh. Oh, Just Rob says, hello. I like chatting more than playing video games. Yeah. Okay. Fair. A lot of people are like that. Kate says Yellowface is so good. It gave me the feeling of reading American Psycho, reading through the eyes of a narcissist. I wanted to scrape my skin off. Oh. Kate says on the other point about the straight white male narrator, we've yet to see the pitfalls of that yet in the writing. Pitfalls of that yet in the writing, which is a big plus for me. When he came across female characters, there was no mention of their boobily boobs boobing down the boob. I added that because that's what we've said before. Tim's in. Tim, did you just clock off work? Catch22 has gifted 22 subs in lieu of what Catch22 likes to do. Oh, you're joining us. You're in the vid chat. Salute to you. You've just gifted subs to Leprechaun, Kerem145, Tesseract Dragon, Deviant Affair, unreliable narrator, Deviant Affair, Pomp Peck P, Alumican 1209, Skate 2 Love, sorry. Mitch 079, Stomps the Wombat. What the fuck did wombats ever do to you? Stomps the Wombat. Is the wombat called Stomps? Or are you stomping on... I need clarification. That's going to actually... That'll sit with me if I don't know that as an Australian. Are you Stomps, the name of the... Are you the name of the wombat, or are you stomping on wombats? Okay. BCXB3, Make a Fun 3D, Exaltare, Rob Flow 3, Mainstay J, Mailbox Junkie, Og Frog Bird, Winpap L, Curazar, Nova Steve B, Elena Great, Subtle Tomato, Sidious Snake, and Bartleby Prime, who's been chatting with us tonight. You all got gifted a sub thanks to Catch22. If you're here and you got one, make sure you give them a thanks. Because that's what we're like over here. Stomps the Wombat, are you there? What? What is it? Just Rob 1978 just followed. Hey, welcome to Maude's Book Club. We're talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl. I gotta stop drinking wine during these, I think, guys. This looks like a little light on my face. What if I just turn them down? That's what I was working on with my tech issues. Just gonna turn them down a little bit. Just gonna turn them down a little bit. Good. Hydrate. Thanks, Thierry. Yeah, I put wine in the mug. That's like the first sign of like you have a problem when you're covering up with a mug. I just wanted to show off that we had it, but anyway. Thanks. Yeah. Lisa says, do you ever wish you had the username Catch2 instead? Oh, because of the 22 subs. 2's a little easier. 2's less expensive, for sure. Billion says, I'm just lurking. I haven't read the book, but I might have to now. Yes, join us. 22 is my number when I played sports, says Catch22. And it's also the book you read the most, I believe. Nah? You read it twice. K. Frida says, alcoholism 101. This is the only night I let myself drink. I just don't know how to read. I believe in you, Just Rob. If you can get a username, you can read a book. Okay, next question. Let's talk about Carl and Donut's strengths and weaknesses. Let's break down their stats. Let's see how they're an asset and how they complement themselves. We got Carl, whose stats are strength 6. Dude lifts 220 pounds. Apparently he benches. Oh, don't know what that means. Intelligence is 3. Constitution's a 5. Dexterity is a 5. And charisma, I don't think it's 4. I thought it was less than that, but I got this from Reddit. We don't shame for listening to audiobooks. Absolutely not. Do the audiobooks. Yeah, they're so good. Team Audio. I just enjoy the vernacular meaning behind the phrase Catch22 because I played sports and my job was to catch things. Your job was to catch things? I thought it was engineering. Don't tell me how they relate.
No, when I played sports, I played football and I was a wide receiver and my job was to catch the ball.
Yeah.
So Catch22 was my number.
But the Catch22 of you being the catcher would be that you don't catch it.
Also the vernacular is the whole, it's a Catch22, so no matter what happens, you can't win.
Yeah, welcome to the dungeon, bitch. You haven't read it though. It's really good.
I have not. I'm sorry. I've been busy.
Hold on, real quick. We'll say book good. Colin, I'll get you to unmute soon because I'll come to you about third. Robin, is book good?
Yes. I mean, you could have just told me that there's a talking cat in it and I would have 100% been in.
I know. You've been doing some great quotes for Donut. Her full name, sorry. I'm sorry. Correct me on her full name.
I cannot remember it off the
I know. There's like acronyms.
Yeah. Princess Donut, Queen Anne of Chonk.
Yeah, I like that. GNW, something. I don't know. Kate, book good?
Yes, book very, very fun. And I love that because I used to have a dog once upon a time that was born from breeders. And he had a big long name because when you have a show animal, they have to have like their name of like their parents and it's all this whole lineage thing.
I didn't know
that's
that.
why her name is so long.
Love a fun fact. Avery, book good?
Book is growing on me. I was struggling a bit at the beginning just because it's not the type of book that I normally read, but I am getting used to it.
I will come back to that because I'd love to hear your perspective. Baden, book good?
Book's awesome.
Second time. Thierry, 7 out of 5.
Yeah, it booked good.
Yep. Jimmy?
Yeah, it's good.
There's always an air of something. Ro, book good?
Achievement unlocked. Book good. Congratulations. Your book doesn't suck.
Mwah. Lise, you liking?
Yeah, I really like it. I don't know if I would like it as much if I wasn't doing audiobook, because I think reading it physically would have been a totally different thing, but I'm loving the audiobook.
That's really interesting. Just Rob says, I've listened to audiobooks just because the reader's voice was so great. I'm telling you right now, this is top 3 of all time, if not the best I've ever heard. The experience of listening to this book is so rewarding. It's so good. Colleen, are you enjoying the book?
Loving this book. It's so fun, and I've been reading so much heavy stuff that it's just really nice to. I love the game format and the snark.
Yes,
I really am enjoying that part of it.
I love that. It is a good palate cleanser. And academic, book good.
Yeah, book good. I think I sort of want to parrot what Lisa's saying, that I'm not sure if I'd like it as much if it were audiobooks. I feel like most lit RPGs suffer from this thing where their prose isn't good. Like, for instance, Pierce Brown, his prose is top notch, right? But lit RPG, as a genre, they don't do it as well. So I'm wondering. I have to go back and read it now to see if I'd like it as much. But
that's interesting.
So far,
I mean, when I was championing this book, I mean, I've only listened to it. I have not read it. I've only listened, and I have encouraged severely to listen to this book if you can. But the fact that majority is saying book good, having read it, Avery, are you listening or reading?
Oh, I'm reading it.
I see, maybe. So, Avery, if it's okay with you, you seem to not be taking the first half of the book as openly as a lot of us, maybe because we played Dungeons and Dragons, very familiar with sort of what lit RPG offers. I kind of want to hear your history of like video games, if you've been into D&D at all, or if this is kind of like your first introduction into it. Or is it because the humor has, in one instance in particular, rubbed you the wrong way?
Yeah, a little bit of both. One is that I don't have a whole lot of experience with like RPGs and stuff. I've played D&D once, and it was kind of like Kate mentioned earlier about how it was just a wall of rules and it just overwhelmed me so much. I think it's such a cool concept, and I love like watching other people do it, but I was just so overwhelmed by everything happening that I was just kind of like, okay, cool. Plus, with my schedule, it's really hard to plan that type of thing. And then video games, I've just never. There's only so much time in a day, and video games just are the thing that I just haven't always been as into. Usually, I will choose reading or watching TV shows over playing games. So I do think that that's probably part of it. Is some of the, things happening are very like focused on like that RPG style that I'm just not super accustomed to, because I was just like, does this make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, you tell me. I get it.
Yeah.
I get that big time.
Like, I recognize the brilliance in it for people who are familiar with that stuff, but because I'm not, it's like parts of it are kind of like over my head, if that makes sense.
It does. I get that. And I'm actually really, really glad for your perspective on that, because for me, it was a duck to water. Like, I've grown up on this. It's so funny that you said with Dungeons and Dragons, it was such an info dump overload that you kind of got overwhelmed with it. That is the exact reason why I created a series called Fungeons and Flagons, which was just taking the concept and some of the structures of D&D and removing the rules completely, and it being improv and rewarding creativity. And it's like, what would you want to do in this moment, knowing that your guidelines are around the class, whether it's a warrior or a magic user. It's like, what would you want to do? And you just have to roll a dice to either affirm or deny that what you want to do happens or not. So I was exactly the same with D&D. I thought it was like, I remember I created this character with a huge backstory, and she was like the best archer in all the lands. And then we get there and it's like, right, you see through the shrubbery that there is like a horde of goblins that have come in. What do you want to do? And I was like, I'm going to, being the best archer in all the land, please see my 19-page backstory that I've written for you. I'm going to run up the tree, I'm going to backflip, and then I'm going to knock 3 arrows. And as I pull them, each arrow is going to pierce the skull of one of the goblins. And my DM said, you can get to the tree. And I was like, what? He goes, well, your movement is 30 feet, which is 6 squares. So you can, that's your turn. And you can get to the tree. And I was like, but I'm the greatest archer in all the lands. And it's like, yeah, but the time restraints that you have, like, that's what you can do. And I thought that was such bullshit. And I was like, if I want to backflip off a tree and shoot 3 arrows into the skulls of goblins, I should be able to do that. Anyway, that's why I made Dungeons and Flagons. And I think having that history and backstory of really loving fantasy and really loving RPGs and growing up on video games and understanding intimately what your stat sheets are and what your stats are, like, this game for me was so fantastic. So, Avery, I'm so glad that you're reading this book, because you're almost like you're anchoring me. The other side, it's like, what if you read this and let the woman backflip, G-dang. Thank you, Piling. What would this be like if I didn't have that entire sort of history of my life in with this? And I think your perspective is one of the more important ones to have with this. So thank you. Please keep reading with us, because I'm going to lean on you a lot with all of this. All right, personal stories aside, and like, watch Dungeons and Flagons on YouTube if you haven't. It's my baby. The next question that I have, we're talking about Carl and Donut's strengths and weaknesses. So Carl and Donut could not be more opposite if you tried. They're not the same species, they're not the same class or race. They haven't chosen classes technically yet. They have different strengths and weaknesses. Who wants to talk me through either Carl or Donut's strength or weakness? Who wants in? Thierry. Give me some. Your choice.
Well, Donut is clearly a bard of eloquence.
Clearly.
She can't roll under 23.
What do you mean clearly? For you, maybe. What does that mean?
I'm playing currently on Friday a Bard of Eloquence at level 3. I couldn't roll under 23 for Persuasion or Deception at level 3. So knowing that Donut has high charisma stats.
Thierry, do you think that I would play? Is that me in real life? Real talk? Bard of Eloquence?
When you're doing interview, I would say yes.
I'll take it. Eloquence. Bard of Eloquence.
Because
okay.
you also throwing jokes in your interviews, that's why.
Charismatic as fuck. Yeah, cool.
And for Carl...
Wait, Donut's weaknesses.
Oh, well, she has low health. So she's like a wizard in that department.
What stat is all about health and regeneration?
Constitution.
Got it. And her constitution is?
I think is something like 2.
2.
Because she's a quadruped.
So basically, constitution means that you don't regenerate very much. You've got low health. You get hit. You hurt a lot. But her intelligence is really high and her charisma is off the charts. Intelligence means that you're a spellcaster. You have to be smart to learn the spells, but intelligence means that you don't necessarily have strength or dexterity, because you're I call it the back line. You shoot your spells, you don't get hit because you are fragile. I'm getting to this, Kate, and I really love that you're thinking about that. And I would love everyone to think about what your stats would be when it comes to dexterity, how fast you are, strength, how hard you can hit, charisma, Maude as fuck, intelligence, smarts up here, and constitution is like, someone said, do you get drunk off 1 beer or do you get drunk off 7 beers? Constitution. I would love to hear everyone's take on what it would be.
Well, that would be technically a resistant in poison.
Technically, yes. Constitution is, can you take a beating? Can you recover? Are you fragile, or are you kind of like?
Yes, I'm rarely sick, so I have high constitution, but I would say I'm more built like a druid, so I have high wisdom.
Okay. I feel like I want to go into this as well with Carl, where he doesn't have book smarts, but he's got street smarts, and his street smarts have saved him already. And we'll get to that. But we've talked about Donut. Donut is incredibly intelligent and super charismatic, which comes in handy a lot of the time. But you flick her with your finger, she's like down for the count. Carl, on the other hand, who wants to take on Carl? Carl's stats, his strengths and his weaknesses. And I can read them out again if you would like. Academic, I kind of feel like I want to throw it over to you. So Carl's strength is 6, intelligence is 3, constitution's 5, dex is 5, charisma's 4. Interpret that for us.
He's an all-arounder, is what I would sort of say.
He's actually above an all-rounder.
Yeah. I would, level above par, I would say. That said, first of all, I want to fess up. I've never played any D&D. I've never even watched anything D&D like. So I apologize. Take whatever nerd card that I had, but
watch Fungeons.
There it is. Or Fungin card, but I think of both of Carl's and Donut's strengths from a slightly different point of view. I'm not really thinking about it from their stat point of view, but rather how they're impacting the game from the
even personality.
Exactly. And since this is not just a Dungeons and Dragons game, this is also reality TV. And in reality TV, they keep the exciting people around longer, right? And so they catch on to that pretty quickly here. And obviously, one of Donut's strengths is that she has done this before ostensibly, right? As a show cat, and she remembers all of that. And her personality lends herself to that. Also, she's a cat. So one of her failings is that she's like, and also not just a cat, but also really new to being sentient and being able to conversate and everything. And so she's really not as sensitive as Carl is as to like other people's moods, especially first starting out. Whereas Carl is has been humaning for a while, as opposed to Donut.
27 years,
and he's not an asshole, as he has said multiple times. So he's actually really considerate of folks, and he's just as hurt as the rest of us when he has to stomp the hoarder's head in.
I know, that was so sad. That was
rough.
tough. Yeah.
Oh, that was rough. But yeah, so that's both a strength and a weakness for him. But I think that also makes him a little bit more compassionate to the viewers. And so not just us as readers, but also the people who are watching the game. So I'm really curious to see how their non-statistically oriented thing, which they also mentioned, what was it? Is it wisdom? Wisdom's not a real stat in this game,
exactly.
Right?
I thought that was quite interesting. Yeah.
And I think that's pointing to lots of other things that are like stats but aren't actually measured by the game. And so I'm really curious how Matt Dinniman will explore that throughout the rest of the series.
Wisdom's you know what you know. And if you don't, you die. So yeah, I get that. Thank you, Ray Panda, for joining us as well. Have a good one. Now, I want to remind everyone of these stats, right? Carl is 27. He's an ex-Coast Guard who's trained in combat. And his stats are strength 6. This guy can bench 220 pounds, okay? Strength 6. Intelligence 3, which he found insulting, but that's the level here. We're level 1 entering. Constitution's 5. Dexterity is 5. Charisma is 4. Now let's take that as like a baseline for someone who's quite active and built. And then let's everyone else weigh in, because I think this is really cute. K Frito says strength 7. So you're stronger than Carl naturally. Cool. Dexterity is 3, so not as fast. Intelligence is 5, which is 2 more than Carl. Con is a 10. No. Sorry, what did you say? Constitution is an 8. Carl's is 5. Your constitution is an 8. Got it. Charisma is 3. Carl's is 4. I like that one. Terry, strength is 7. Can you bench more than 220? Just asking. Just asking. We got to, set a reasonable adjustment here. Dexterity is 3. Intelligence is a 5. Con is 10. I love how con everyone is. And charisma is an 8. I like that. Jimmy, you think your strength is a 3. How often would you say you would do a fitness activity? You would exercise each week? And you don't have to share if you're not comfortable doing so.
I exercise daily.
Oh, you walk like 60 kilometers a week. Yeah.
Yeah, I do walking and yoga every day. So the only thing I don't do is lift weights because I have a hernia because of surgery.
Got it. And that'll make everything worse. So that's why your dexterity is a little bit higher than your strength. That checks out. I like that. Your intelligence is a 5. Your constitution is a 9 because we can't kill you. We being the world has tried, failed. And charisma is an 8. Stand up. That checks out. I like it. Now, Kate, talk me through your stats. Your skin heals faster than the stitches will allow. That's fucking baller.
Yep. The doctor was like, oh, have you had any, because they started being concerned about there's a thing where if your scar tissue heals too quickly, it'll just keep growing out of your body. So they were like, has this ever happened?
Wow, so, that's fascinating.
But the answer is no. So yeah,
okay.
I'm like Wolverine, so my con is really good.
Your con, you're saying, is a 10. Your strength is a 3. So I could beat you in a fight is what I'm hearing. Physical fight. I got you done.
Well, I don't have really good arm strength, but I have lots of core and leg strength.
Are you looking at this? You can see it in the other camera as well. I'm just showing. I'm like, whatever. Wow, that chick. Yeah, my strength is a 5. My strength, I'm not as strong as Carl, who's benching 220. Actually, I don't think I could bench close to 2. I don't even know if I can bench 70. I don't think I can bench 70. My strength is a 4. We all need to adjust according. If you don't have the line. Anyway.
I used to be able, when I was doing weights, I used to be able to leg press 400.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay. Dex is a 3. Your intelligence is a 6. I believe that. Double Carl. I believe that. And your charisma is a 4. Go down. Go down with that, Kate.
Lower charisma?
You can pick fights. If it was aggression, yeah, 8. Charisma, go down. Yeah, K-Frito's putting like flame. It's like fight. Yeah, I'll do it. Terry, strength is a 4. Strength is a 4. What are you benching, bro? Kidding.
200 when I used to go to the gym.
When you used to go, we are not rating what the best of our stats could have been.
That's why I put a 4. Now I'm more like I can still lift stuff, but I'm a little bit out of shape.
I ran a marathon when I was 7. Connor's at 12. No. Okay. You've got intelligence is a 5. You are smart. Your con's a 6. Yeah. Tell me more about that.
I'm never sick.
Oh, I'm always sick. My cons are 2. I'm on par with Donut. Someone sneezes, I'm in bed for 2 weeks. Guys, I lost my first job as like being the new host of a music channel because I got sick. I would even say my constitution is a 1. I think I'm going to die really fast. I will try to talk my way out of it with my charisma of 9. But I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm never sick, or if I am, it's just like for 3 days. I go to bed, put Lord of the Ring extended edition, Hobbit extended edition, with a bucket of chicken noodle soup, and I'm good.
Your dex is 4.
Yeah.
Charisma's 3.
Yeah, I'm awkward as fuck.
Then that's a 2. That's a 2 or a 1, isn't it?
That would be maybe more like a 2, 2.5.
I'm humbling everyone in this conversation. Good. Lisa, 3 across the board. Mwah, love it. Love it. Vaden, strength is a 3. Your intelligence is a 6. Your constitution is an 8. How's your constitution an 8?
All right, I'm very good at constitution in general because like when I don't get sick, like that people mentioned, like almost never happens to me. I'm, just immune or something. I don't have magic powers, and other than that, like I'm just, I guess, generally speaking, tougher than average. I'm not sure, like, because like I saw my brother hit me in the shoulder when I was a kid. Because he used to do like taekwondo or not taekwondo. He just got him to Chinese martial arts. I would let him punch him in the shoulder all the time, and it wouldn't I'd be fine. Like, yeah, okay.
That's all right. Okay, I like that. I agree. That's high. Where are your stats? Where'd they go?
I just posted it again.
You did?
Let's see.
Oh, I can see Avery's. Where are yours? Oh, here it is. Dex is a 3, charisma is a 2. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
If I threw a ball at your face, could you duck it?
I probably duck it. I can catch. I used to play baseball, so I was a catch. I was in outfield, so I would catch the ball most times. So I'm pretty good catching, but otherwise dexterity is decent, but my balance is kind of off. So I'm not like the best at it.
Avery, I love yours. Strength is a 2. Intelligence is a 6. I could argue it's higher. Your dex is a 1. How uncoordinated do you think you are, Avery?
Listen, I've tripped walking in a straight line down the hallway. So
this is the thing about doing your stats. You have to own your weaknesses. Like, we can't all be amazing at everything all the time. And if you are, like if you're 8 across the board, you're sad as fuck. Like, something's got to give. It's about balance. So kudos to Avery for knowing that she's smart AF, little uncoordinated. And that's what makes her so beautiful. Your cons are 3, your charisma is a 5. And that 5, I would even bump that to a 6. It is well earned. It is well earned. Who else we got here? Academic, strength is a 4. Do you have the line? You don't have to show me. I'm not trying to exploit you. But do you have the line? That's a 3 at minimum. Okay, he showed me. Yeah, he's got a... Okay, your strength is a 4. Your dex is a 4? You got a kid. You're running around. Your dex is a 4. Your constitution's
I think it's more from the basketball, you know.
My favorite part is that he popped his collar after. He didn't even know he was doing it, but he popped his collar.
It's a natural movement, okay? It's when your dex is, you know, a
if
4,
your dex is high, that's what you do. Your cons are 2.
I get sick like
all the time.
Crazy. I can take a beating, but I get sick. It's rough.
Yeah. Charisma's a 6.
I make friends pretty easily, I'd say. Yeah, that's how
I like
that.
That's how you read that, because I hate making friends. New people, I'm just like, ugh. But I let like natural, organic authenticity bring people together instead of forcing anything. I hate forcing it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm not here to people please. I'm not trying to win your favor.
You can change that, all right? My charisma started at like a 2, okay? So like you can bump those numbers up, all right?
But my charisma comes in different ways. Like it's not a people pleasing fueled thing. I don't need people to like me. But if I'm gonna get up, I can get people to listen to what I have to say. I'm running.
You're a donut.
Fuck. God damn it, donut. What's a cat? Okay.
I hate to say this, Maude.
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
You
got
hate
me out.
making friends, but you hang out with randoms from the internet for 2 hours.
Yep. Yep. Cool. Robin, strength is 2, quite possibly a 1. I love it. Intelligence is a 6. That's the thing. Like, that's the thing. If you don't have to be strong if you're smart. Like, you play to your strengths, and I think that's so important. Dex is a 3, cons a 3, charisma is a 6. Your charisma is a 6. Your charisma is mwah. Do you want to add to anything with that? Dex is a 3, but your strength could be a 1. Talk me through that.
I'm like Bugs Bunny when he tries to show off his muscles, like it just like flops underneath.
But you made me laugh. Charisma is up. That's how this goes.
And then kind of like Avery, I trip upstairs. I trip downstairs. I've almost sprained an ankle on a flip-flop.
Oh my gosh, that actually makes me want to talk to Claire, my friend. She just broke her foot for the 2nd time on stairs. So I would love to hear her stats because dexterity is -3 at this stage. I love that. Okay, Colleen, let's talk through yours. Strength is a 1. We're all beating you in an arm wrestle.
Yeah, I'm still with the rest home crowd.
We don't want to arm wrestle you. We don't want to. We would absolutely beat you. Okay, dexterity is a 1. I see where we're going here. Your constitution is a 7.
Dexterity it depends because I can crochet pretty well. And
Okay.
that maybe takes some dexterity.
If you can crochet, you can put a bullet in a gun and fire really fast. That's my logic. That's my logic.
Constitution, I've got, I have a very high tolerance for pain, and I'm rarely ever sick.
Okay. I actually think that for Constitution, like anyone who's had children, it automatically goes up at least one. Now, what do you mean academic? What do you mean? Why are you shaking your head?
No, I'm just sick all the time. What are you talking about? This is my entire life right now.
No. Let me rephrase. If you have birthed a child.
Okay, yeah.
If you have gone through
a
birthing, if you've delivered a child from your womb, your Constitution automatically goes up one. So, Colleen, respect. Yeah, you're like, and I'm like, you just went down another one, academic. Thinking about it, you got
natural births.
5, exactly. Yeah, okay. So I appreciate and respect your Constitution there.
I think I'm pretty high in charisma.
We all love you, Colleen. Like, you don't even need to.
Well, I held a couple of young ladies captive, I think, when we were, they were talking about the ASPCA, and I ended up keeping them talking so long that my foot started to go numb standing there.
I love it. Where is the rest of your stats? What was we got to your con. What was the last one? Charisma.
Okay.
High.
Yeah, charisma's high.
Yeah.
And I think intelligence is pretty high.
It is. It is. You teach us something every week.
Well,
you do.
I'm counting my languages too. So, okay.
Lisa, you're like, all right, truthfully though, my strength is a 2, intelligence is a 5, dex is a 3, cons a 3, charisma is a 3. All right, so you bumped up your int to reduce your strength. I think that's fair game. That's fair game. So you're a mage class. You're a mage class. Magic user. You're inside.
I'll take it.
Yeah, done. KP Dubs is in the house. Hello, KP Dubs. How was work? Your strength is a 4. So hold on. You're 2 below Carl. Okay. Intelligence is a 7, which is 4 more than Carl. His intelligence is a 3. Yours is a 7. Dexterity is a 5. 5. Con's a 3. I would bump up your charisma. I would actually... I don't know. You're just eye rolling me so hard right now. I would swap a dex. I would do a dex from 5 to 4, and I would do your charisma from 4 to 6.
I wasn't eye rolling. A fly flew past me.
And he's going to get away with that too because his charisma is a 6. So change that stat. Anyone else got their stats in? All right, I have to do mine. What are they? Let me get the... that's not the order of it. Strength. I got a line. My strength is 4. My intelligence is... Okay, so my street smarts are amazing, but my book smarts are shithouse. Can my intelligence be a 5 still? Okay, everyone's nodding. Good. My constitution's 2. My dexterity is a 4. My charisma is a 9. There you go. That's what I think it's going to be. Yeah, my con's my weakest part. There's going to be like a plague that comes through and I'm like, it was nice knowing everyone. This is me. This is my time. Can't survive any sort of mild infection. I will die. Thank you very much. My intelligence is higher, says Piling. What did I give it? A 5. No, I'm pretty comfortable with 5. I know what I know and I don't what I don't. You know? I'm open to learning, but it doesn't mean I know a lot. Toaster Poster says, yeah, that seems right. Baden says my intelligence should be a 6 or a 7. There's different types of intelligence. Catch22 says, I'll fight you on this. What was your strength again? You didn't put it down.
I didn't put it down. I was arguing with KP Dubs over what my intelligence would be because he seems to think despite testing in the 99th percentile across the board, I would only be a 7 in int, and I think I'd be a bit higher than that.
I'll give you 8, but your charisma just went to shit because you tooted your own
Here's my
horn.
reference point. If there's a guy that's like 6'3" and can bench 220, he's probably like top 5 or 10% of all humans.
We can't play into stereotypes here, but I did just say that if everyone had 8 across the board, that they were chronically depressed. So.
And so I'm thinking if he's a 6, based on this game's rating system, a 7 strength would be like Olympic power lifter. So to me, a 7's the highest stat this game would allow for a first level hero.
Agree. And that's what I had to kind of check on everyone. Like I had to kind of go, this is a guy who's benching 220, his strength is a 6, and Mordecai was like, dude, that's high. It sounded like, I mean, Donut was 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And it sounded like most people were flitting between 1 to 3, 4 tops. And because he had a 6, it was like, dude, like, okay, you got this. So maybe my charisma would be a 7 instead of a 9. Sorry, that was gross.
Average person though.
Huh?
You have to think about all the people you see in line at the DMV. That's the average benchmark.
Yeah, I'm more charismatic than everyone there.
People who you wonder how they even got dressed in the morning.
Yeah, the average person. K-Furia says, I'm level 10 right now. Hello. Terry says, Maude would have a disadvantage on save against the fear. Oh, yeah. What is that? If anything scary happens, I'm a little bish. I am running the other way so much. Kate says, you two can argue about intelligence if it should be 6 or 7. I'm just going to push you towards the monster that you aren't seeing because you're trying to be smart, and then I'll loot the hell out of your corpses. All right, what are you going to loot from me? Kate, you loot my dead body. What is there? What do you think I've got? And if you say my dog, I will hunt you down. She's like, yoink, Zelda's mine. Your mum's mine. It's all mine.
No, I'm not really a dog person. I wouldn't take Zelda. Slow me down.
That's just as upsetting somehow. It's weird how you managed to do that.
When you asked me what I would take, I had some very dark answers. I'm not gonna say. Bring the dog, you might get hungry. Ken's got the right. That's the correct answer.
What? Who wrote what where?
I'm rolling with Frank and Maggie.
You don't say that out loud! Oh my god! Holy shit! Okay, next question. Nice segue. They run into a dead body. It's another crawler that's been killed. Carl identifies the truth about Frank Q. Now, we were talking about the different types of intelligence here. Carl doesn't have book smarts, but he's got street smarts. And in this very seemingly interesting conversation, they run into this girl, Rebecca, who's been stripped completely naked, and the only thing that she's got in her inventory is an apple core. Upon further discovery, she's been shot, and it's apparent that she's been murdered by another crawler. In the bathrooms, Donut discovers that Frank Q, who says that Rebecca has been killed by a Frank Q, he's in the bathroom. Now, dialogue takes place where we, the reader, kind of think, oh, we've got this all wrong. Oh my gosh, we thought that this guy was a murderer. And then he's like, yes, rest in peace, Rebecca W. And then we have this conversation and he's like, oh, hi, I'm going to give you some information that I've learned. And that is when you're sleeping, you go transparent. So I'm helping you out. So I'm a good guy. And they're like, we just saw that you killed someone. I'm a cop. This is what happened on Earth. I was staking out these human traffickers. And that was her. So as soon as we got into the dungeon, a shootout happened. And so I took care of her, or like the mob kind of was in there. Like one of her guys kind of got my assistant as well. And then you've got Donut being like, oh, what a poor, wonderful person. We must trust him immediately. Yeah, Rebecca W. did sound like she had some awesome tattoos. And then you've got Carl talking to Donut being like, nah, this guy's lying. And I have a feeling they're going to try to attack us. Don't say anything. Don't make it obvious that I know what's happening. Just do nothing. And it turns out that, yes, Frank was completely lying. And they both try to attack. Maggie comes out from stealth, fires on Carl. Frank tries to shoot Donut, but it's a safety zone. So they get timed out and a naughty. And they Carl and Donut bolt. And then Donut was like, how did you know? And it was so interesting seeing how Carl, who's seemingly strong guy, not as smart, how did he piece this together? He went full Sherlock on this situation, where it's like when he ate the biscuit, he was actually in a team with someone because it was 9.8 experience instead of the full 10. So it was shared with someone else. So he lied. He was also typing. He hadn't figured out how to contact without typing. So I could see that he was typing to someone else. Things weren't adding up. And I don't know about you, but when I was reading this book, when that moment happened, my respect for Carl went skyrocket. I was like, this is someone I trust. This is someone who can get out of situations. And I don't think book smarts matter as much. Sorry, Tim. I don't think book smarts matter as much as street smarts in the dungeon. I think having a read on people, seeing who's trustworthy or who's going to lie to you, to find out people's integrity, these are things that are this is what's going to keep you alive, I think. There are going to be some times where it's like, oh, I know that the metal melts at this heat, and so if we want to do that, and I've got a bomb, and this is how I can build a bomb, like that will actually matter as well. But this is the first time that we've really seen street smarts save lives, and I thought that was super fascinating and made me so much more interested in Carl as a character. Avery says, I never believed him because he claimed to be ice. That's a red flag. Yes. Donut fell for it quicker than most cats would, says Colleen. Kate says Donut is like a cat, noble too. She's a pampered show cat who doesn't have street smarts at all. No, if she shat on the fur next to her butt, someone had to clean it for her. She doesn't have like so many means in so many different ways. Someone tells her that she looks really, really pretty, and that's her validation, support, her importance explained completely. So it again, but then Carl can't talk his way out of situations or into situations, and Donut has these goblins eating out of her hand to be able to do anything that they require. There's such great balance with these two, and I think that that's a really cool moment. Ouch. Another thing that we're talking about way earlier is the surprising amount of poignant moments, light and shade with these characters. See you, T-Bonsk. Depth for a lit RPG story. We are finding out about Carl in ways that it's not like, it's definitely showing and not telling, even though he's kind of referencing these moments. He's got a really tough relationship with his father. They haven't spoken. What? Oh. Sorry, guys. I got to block someone. It's kind of fun to do it. I'm just going to ban you. I'm not going to time you out.
What's an atheist?
I don't know. I think they were trying to say atheist, but I'm not. I'm agnostic, so that's not even something. Junior Dex says, I need to head to bed. It's 3 a.m. here. I got to get up for work in less than 4 hours. Your constitution's a 2. If you sleep 8 hours, your constitution goes up. Antagonistic. Nice, KP Dubs. Nice. Intelligence went up. Anyway, I was going on this big rant about the backstory, the depth. Carl having a turbulent relationship with his father. They haven't spoken in 12 years. It sounds like he was in a very abusive relationship with his father. He's finding out from Donut because she's observing things, but she's never been able to kind of say this before until now, that she was getting cheated on the entire time. That Beatrice was seeing 2 other people, and a woman, if you count that as well. And he was completely unaware of all of these things. He's a bit out of it when it comes to perception in his own relationship, but he's very good with strangers, it seems. I really love this character depth that we're having with Carl because he could be quite a 2D character. I guess I want to open it up, and my question is, for a game lit RPG, are we kind of getting more character development than anticipated? And what is it about Carl that we've learnt that has humanized him and made him more 3D instead of 2D? Anyone? Sure. Vaden, let's go.
Yeah, just how much he cares about people. Like first the cat, like talks about, Donut talks about how he was gonna try to like kidnap her and take care of her because like when he was gonna move to their apartment and take her there with him because he knew that she was in a bad place. And so he wanted to help her out. And then in dungeon, you know, same thing. He's very loyal to her, even though at some point he almost ditched her because of her
new
asshole.
attitude.
Yeah, her attitude.
She's
But like,
a
I mean,
dick.
we see it also later on with like, you know, near the part we end is with the elderly, the people they take care of.
Yeah.
He wants to take care of them. He has no real need to take care of them. They're not his responsibility, but he wants to. He wants to help them.
Yeah.
And he's willing to take the risks, you know, of doing all the hard work and you know, and basically jeopardizing all his work and chances of making it out of there by helping them. So he's a good guy.
He's a good guy, and we're shown that time and time again. And Donut has her moments, but on the whole, she's selfish. She's looking out for her. Kate, we're going to get to this predictions. You've got a prediction. I think it's kind of sad that Donut thinks that they're going to meet up with Beatrice further down in the dungeon. But Robin, you've got a prediction with that.
Yeah, I think that she is still alive, just because the producers probably want to keep her alive so that there's more drama when she eventually meets up with Carl.
And this technically goes back into my earlier conversation about how much is fate versus coincidence. Like, are they predicting or are they trying to create as much drama as possible because they've got like their top 3 million of the community of the world that they believe could make good television, so to speak. Toast Post said, I connected with Carl when Donut brought up that he was looking for apartments that accepted cats. Oh, that was cute. I liked that as well. My next question, because we're running out of time, we meet another group of crawlers. Unfortunate situation with the fact that they are nurses and maintenance men of an aged care facility. And of course, there's a homeless bat who seems unstable. Would you feel responsible for them? In that situation, this is about survival. Oh, KP Dubs gifting 5 subs to Blonde Lager, Athreos, Rick Rag 88, Osucelsius, and Mathtronic. What's someone called Mathtronic doing here? I hope you don't think we're crunching numbers apart from stats. We talk books. And then Ilham. Christ. Ilham Hamio. Someone help me. How do you say your goddamn name? What is that? That's too many letters of the alphabet next to each other that don't make no bloody sense. Ilhamaya? No. Ian! It's a Turkish name. I didn't stand a chance with that one. I'm so sorry that I was butchering it completely. Hi, Ian. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for joining book club. One day I'll be able to say something as right as that. Americans can't say my name. Hey, you followed. That's so sweet. Kate says, from a lesser writer, I feel like Carl would have become Steven Seagal. Thank you. And Ian says, hello. Kate also says, most male characters in these types of roles would be more, raw testosterone, let's show them how I can save everyone by killing my way through everyone. And Carl's way more hesitant about that. Even though he is in like the military thing, something that's usually seen as hypermasculine. And when Rebecca W. was naked, there were no leering comments, no leering or comments on her body other than her tattoos. I know that was really, when you're a woman reading that, like, it stands out. It stands out. As soon as like she was stripped naked, you're like, oh, here we go. How small was her waist, you know? So that was nice. Vaden says, also, with how he didn't want to kill the first boss monster, when he realized that she was a victim of the dungeon as well. This is the sick part about the game that we're learning. And we also had that moment at the second boss, the group boss battle, the neighborhood boss, where it exploded into the tusk. Oh, I had the name for it earlier. They were humanoid enough. They were like in tuxedos. They were smaller in stature, but they were like men, clearly defined like men and women, the pig people. Yeah. And you look around at all the crawlers and they're crying. They're crying, killing these monsters because they're not super detached from humanity. Like they're feeling the sting of having to do these actions, which I think is super important as well. But real talk here, you're by yourself with your talking cat, you're a group, you're looking for other humans, you meet Frank, Q, and Maggie who try to kill you and they've killed someone else already, and then you stumble upon a group of 4 adults. One of them's barely an adult. Imani is 19. They're young, and they are somehow responsible for like a group of elderly. I will say thank you, Resolutrial, for your follow. Appreciate it. Welcome to Boys Book Club. I will say that grandmas are my weakness. If I scrolled through my stats, it was like, empathy towards old people, like 162. Like I buy grandma's groceries every time I see them in the line. That's just like my thing that I do. If I can drive them home, I will. I feel like old people, especially in America, are the most overlooked group of people. And the country would just want them to die. Like they're just waiting for them to die. And we get a lot of that in this dungeon. It's like they've understood that they can't survive this. You require a skill set. The older you get, these stats go down. Dexterity, -4. Like it's so hard to be able to kind of even have a fighting chance. And so they've recognized this and they're waiting to die. Imani and who was the other caretaker? They kind of feel like it's their responsibility because they were on shift. It was their job above ground. It's their job in the dungeon. Donut sees them as a liability. The more we help them, the lower our chances of survival are. And we really need to walk away or put them out of their misery because this is going to be, it's inevitable. It's just when, not if. KP Dubs! Kentucky Fried Grandma? No. I think this is a huge moral compass decision. If you were in that situation, what would you do? In a game of D&D, it's very easy to say that you would help them because it's not your hands that are pulling the trigger. It's not your hands that are getting bloody in this situation. It's not your actual life on the line. But I feel like it's an important sort of question. Would you help them, or would you see the futility of it all? Now, Kate, I know you've got no qualms saying what you would do. If your life's on the line, that's the most important thing.
Like I said, I wouldn't have even gone down in the dungeon. So, like, I would just be like, I'm out.
Peace. Where's it? Yeah, Vaden? Where's everyone else's moral compass?
I think it would, try to help them even if it's not a good idea, of course. Like, there's a great quote near the end of the first half of the book where Carl says, if I can't live with myself, or if I can't live life worth living or something, like, what's the point
in living if I can't live with myself?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, the longer I stayed in this dungeon, the more I would actually start hating myself with the decisions that I would have had to have made to continue staying alive. And that would wear on me really badly. Ugh. If they don't ask for help, I won't help, says Sprinkles. I actually don't mind that logic. If you need it, I'll do it. If you ask for help, I'm willing and available. But if you don't ask for the help, I'm not going to risk myself for the help that's not even asked for. Oh, okay. I feel like I fight against futility to some extent every single day, says Colleen. Earth became your dungeon? I want to hug you when you say shit like that, Colleen. You know that, right? Paileng says, you live life more full than I. I take notes.
It's not just for me. It's what I see around me. People giving up and getting discouraged about the climate, and I mean, the world is burning, but
yeah,
I still find positive things every day.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Lisa says, I wouldn't be able to not help them. That's lawful good to a T. Meanwhile, Kate says, it's one of those dirty, dark fantasies that I would have, just to let the anger finally take over, because there's something darkly attractive about going into the dungeon. Just casting off the shackles of humanity and going feral. Lilith, I believe, is the character from Red Rising, who I think that you would represent quite nicely. Lilith. Humanity's gone. Academic's thinking about it. You got another one, Academic? Antonia? I got cast as 33% Antonia and I can't sleep at night. Like,
I was also thinking Antonia, but no, Antonia is not that dark. She's yeah, no, I can't think
more
of it. Anyway.
narcissistic. Kate's not narcissistic at all. I'm way more narcissistic than she is. But apparently I'm not, because I actually care about what other people, like how my actions affect other people. But like, I'm also, it's Maude Garrett's, like it's Maude's book club. So I see what that is. I see it. I talk more than anyone else here. KB Dub says, I scored a 98% lawful good on one of those tests. So yeah, I would need to help. Avery says, I'm with Jimmy. I would absolutely help if they asked, but if they don't, I'd be sad, but I'd probably leave. I think I'm in that headspace as well. If you ask for help, like who am I to say no? In fact, my neighbor moved out and I was like, I have an hour. I am yours for this hour. If you need me, I will help you move. And I asked 3 times. And she said no every time. No, I'm fine. No, it's good. No, I've got it. And I was like, right.
No, you offered that you didn't. They didn't. That's not the same thing. You're actually offering to help. That's a step further than just like waiting for them to say, could you help me move? And then instead you're like, hey.
If she asked me, no hesitation. Like I was like, please say yes to me offering for help. Kate says, I live that neutral evil lifestyle. Haha. Bartleby Prime says, I'd hope to be brave enough to be a positive, helpful person in such a dire situation, but you never know until you're in one. Yeah, I go full savior when I'm adrenaline kicks in. Like if there's a car accident or something's happened, like I am wrapping that person's arm up with the bloodied cut and holding it above their head. You call the ambulance. You, we need that. You, I need hot water. All right, you sit down. That's what I do. It's anyway. And offering to help someone move. Okay, maybe I'm nicer than I let on. I don't know. Kevin Up says, yep, Maude, same. A switch just goes off in my brain and I jump in. Yeah. But then afterwards, I'm like under a table shaking once all the adrenaline's run off. Yeah. Pailang says, I'd be doing that too. Then the person wakes up and slugs me in the face. What? I don't understand that one. Academic says, to be fair.
You might be talking about with CPR. If you do it correctly, you break the person's ribs. Yeah. You have to do it that hard.
Yeah.
So when they wake up, they end up like usually punching you or like attacking you because you've broken their ribs.
Someone did CPR on another person and saved their life, and they sued that person for saving their life, saying you should have let me die. Yeah. That would be me. I'd be like, take me to court. Blood's not going to be on my hands. Academic says, to be fair, that's how I show friends that I care about them. Moving sucks and friends stop helping you after uni is over. I know. I pay people to help me move. No, I mean people reject me helping. Oh, that's odd. I don't understand. Anyway, we're way over time. I think that's the last question that I had. What allies would you try to make, or would you seize an opportunity to level up or survive? Would you kill other people to get the experience, or would you make them allies?
I think we just answered that question.
If they had something to offer though, like if I'm like, hey, I can do these things, but I'm really bad at those. And if you're really good at those, let's just hope that when we get along. But I think in these situations, there is such thing as too many cooks in the kitchen. If you have a plan and the whole time everyone's talking about what the plan should be instead of enacting the plan when there's a time limit, and someone's like, I think it should be this. No, I don't think it should be that. I think it should be this. It's like, no, shut up. We're doing that. We need to do it now. So that would be annoying if there's too many. There's strength in numbers, but there's also not. Anyway, homework, finish the damn book. So many of you have already. More power to you. finish the book. It's a great book. We're going to reconvene in a week, same time, 5 p.m. PST, to chat about this. I love that Queso has said, first time chat. I love it when people like don't talk quantity, they talk quality. So when they talk, it's like the best. If we all die, then we'll argue about it. That's the logic that I'm here for. Fantastic. A team of 2 or 3, says Thierry. If they complement each other, that's enough. Any more than that is too much. KP Dub says, okay, homework's to finish the book. Done. Ready for next week. If you do happen to finish this book, read the next book because we'll be covering that one as well. I might not do the halfway through check-in. I'll converse with the members about that one, but like I wanted to do the halfway for this one to get everyone on the page into the series. But now that we're kind of there, we could have a week off to read it in our own time. If you want to binge it the last minute, or if you want to pace yourself, totally okay. But we are going to talk about the rest of this book next week. I'm talking about the 3rd week. We might take that week off just to power through the 2nd book, and then we'll reconvene and talk about the 2nd book. And then we're talking about Dinniman, about his series, books 1 and 2, which will be so much fun. Much appreciated, says Sir. I just had to sneak a comment in. Lisa says, I love a good last minute binge. I will do it twice. I'll listen to it straight away, and then I'll binge at the end, and I'll get something new out of it the second listen every time. Do we want to... Oh, people are playing Baldur's Gate 3. Do we want to raid into someone's Twitch? Who's on? Wow. Thursday nights are slow. Any suggestions? Teary. We can rate Critical Role. They don't need help. 23,000 viewers? They're good. They're good. I got one. True, KP Dubs. True. Thank you so much for that. You liked the book? Did you give me a book good? You came in a bit later. Tell me if book's good.
Yeah, I loved it. I knew I had to work and was going to miss most of this, and for like 8 days in a row, so that's why I read it all the way through, so I'm ready for next. Yes. I was worried because all the hype about the audio made me worry that the paperback was not going to be as good.
We were talking about that earlier.
I loved it.
Great.
I was listening to my car. I like the book, the physical book version.
Darren, you're in here. Book good so far? I know you already like finished book 2 already.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking I was going to be able to make any of these, so that's why I read ahead. And sure enough, you have a little extra session today. So yeah, no, book really good. Super easy to read. So
yay! Yeah, we went a little long. We went a little long. Alrighty, everyone. I know the academics already left. We're gonna raid, and for my members plus, we'll chat a little, even though we went over, so it might not be as long. But I'll see you there. Bye, everyone. We're raiding Lasercorn. He's playing Baldur's Gate 3. God, I don't know.